Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is doing well. Well, we're going to talk about something I'm sure Chicago is going to be real happy to see, because that mayor y'all got, when it comes down to immigration, has been a thorn in your sides. And I have seen it and done my videos on what was going on out in Chicago. So I'm sure you are welcoming what Donald Trump and Tom Homan are saying about getting those illegals out of there. And yes, I heard about the turf wars, the Venezuelan gangs are trying to take over and all that stuff. And Tom Homan already said he gonna run them gangs out of there. He's gonna get them all out of there, the illegal ones. So it's good to see. And I'm sure my brothers and sisters out in Chicagoland, y'all are happy to see this for real. I know you are. I know you are. And I don't blame you. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get into the story, because this is really going down, y'all. It's really going to happen. So Donald Trump said his plans to start deporting will begin next week in Chicago. Next week. And yes, I did hear what that old loser mayor said, how he was going to try to stop it and all that. He can't, because Tom Homan already said any of these mayors that try to get in the way, they're going to place them under arrest. And I tell you what, if old Mayor Brandon over there gets arrested, I'm definitely going live on that one. So, incoming Trump administration intend to carry out post-inauguration immigration raids in Chicago next week, according to two people familiar with the planning and correspondence. And the New York Times also published this as well. Opening step in Trump goal to oversee the largest deportation operation in American history. The plan, called Operation Safeguard by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, would start on Tuesday, the day after Trump's inauguration, and last until the following Monday. So they're going to start the Tuesday after Trump's inauguration. So he gets inaugurated on the 20th, and they're going to start on the 21st. And they said they're going to deport people all the way until the following Monday. According to people familiar with it, the correspondence, the dates were still being finalized, however, and could change. You know what? I don't even think it would bother people if the dates are changing, just as long as they know this is going to happen. So, anyway, the size of the planned operation is unclear. ICE routinely conducts deportations in cities throughout the U.S., but the agency was taking additional steps to ramp up enforcement for the operation and tied it to Mr. Trump's inauguration in a message sent to personnel throughout the agency. Hundreds of agents were asked to volunteer and participate in the post-inauguration operation targeting immigrants in America illegally. ICE is planning to send roughly 150 agents to Chicago for the raids. For Mr. Trump, the optics of immigration agents sporting ballistic gear and arresting immigrants with uncertain or contested status in a Democratic-led city could be enough. The incoming administration is eager to find ways to send a message that is cracking down on undocumented immigrants and punishing so-called sanctuary cities, communities like Chicago that refuse to hand over immigrants detained by police to federal immigration authorities. Don Terry, a spokesman for the Chicago police, said the department would not intervene or interfere with any other government agencies performing their duties, but said it does not document immigrant status and will not share information with federal immigration authorities. The planned raids were reported earlier by the Wall Street Journal. Tom Homan, Mr. Trump's pick to oversee this mass deportation, has said the public should expect immigration action in the early days of Trump's presidency that creates shock and awe. So they are going to come up with these people. Don't even be surprised if you hear about raids at 2 and 3 in the morning, because they're going to do it in a way where they catch these folks off guard. That's what they're going to do. Mr. Trump has promised to carry out mass deportations that would target millions of unauthorized immigrants in the U.S. Mr. Homan said the administration will not hesitate to deport parents who are in the country illegally but have U.S.-born children. So he said, even if you got one of them anchor babies up in here, that ain't going to stop anything. They're going to snatch these parents up and still get them out of here. Mr. Trump's team also plans to reassign other federal agents and deputize local police officers and members of the National Guard voluntarily contributed by Republican-run states to help with the deportation effort. So he's getting a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people involved in this. Wow. Mr. Holman has tried to draw attention to so called sanctuary cities. In November, he suggested that he would ramp up the number of federal immigration officers in those areas. New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles. The major cities in this country are still sanctuary cities, Mr. Holman said, then adding, if they're not going to help us, then we'll just double the manpower in those cities. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. But plans to deport millions of undocumented immigrants are still likely to face erroneous financial and logistical hurdles. Yeah, y'all don't throw off the table the lawsuits that are going to come from these cities. They'll try to throw some lawsuits out there to slow the whole process down or to put everything to a halt until a court decides, you know. So just anticipate the lawsuits coming. In recent weeks, Mr. Trump and his immigration officials have said their immigration operation would first target those with a criminal record, which are many of them over here. Mr. Trump often threatened nationwide deportation raids when he was the last president in the White House, his last presidency in the White House. Shocking many of his ICE officials, he achieved mixed results. In 2019, Trump promoted an effort to target roughly 2,000 migrants who were in the U.S. illegally as a show of force against migration. Just 35 people were detained in the operation. In 2019, ICE removed more than 267,000 people, the highest annual total during the Trump administration. It pales in comparison to the high mark that occurred under President Obama, who deported more than 400,000 people in 1 year. Yeah, I had heard Obama got a lot of them out of here. So, y'all, Trump is going to hit the ground running on this one. He is serious. And I'm sure this will definitely be out there on the news. I'm going to see how much of it they're going to show on the news. And out there in Chicago, being that you are local, you'll probably see a lot more of it than we will and hear a lot more of it on the local level, because it's way more detailed when you can get the news on a local level. You get more information. So, wow. I look, if this helps my people out there in Chicago, then I am down for it, because I saw how stressed out when they would have those town hall meetings. I saw how stressed out my brothers and sisters in Chicago have been. And you have been this way for months. How you doing, Wallow J? And man, I felt your pain. I felt your pain. I really, truly did. How the people had a mayor that showed preferential treatment to immigrants over the people that have been there and owned homes all their lives. Okay. And were in the community all their life. He just overlooked them and wanted to pour out everything to these migrants. But now you see, game is over. We are only days away from Donald Trump's inauguration. And so that means we're days away from these raids that are about to go down out here. So it's all coming. Like I said, I can't wait for it to go down, because I'm definitely going to be talking about the raids. I'm going to be talking about it a lot. The only one that's going to be upset are those politicians for the Democratic Party. They want these people here. So we shall see what will happen. Now, when I read how Donald Trump is coming into office, I think he's doing like 100 or close to 100 executive orders on day one. That's a lot. That's a lot. But that's the way he said he's coming into office. He's going to get all these executive orders done. Wow. So they're not playing. Mm. And Tom Holman, when he was doing his speech for Turning Point USA, he specifically called out the gangs. He called them out by name, each one of them that are in this country. He said, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna get you out of here. Mm-mm-mm. Well, I think Donald Trump is saying, the sky's the limit on getting these people out here. He doesn't care how much he got to spend as long as, he can get them out of this country. Hmm. Well, yeah, yeah, I know. Going down to Florida is like a whole different country. You go to a gas station down there, they'll talk to you in Spanish. They don't even speak to you in English. Yeah, I do know about that. Hmm. Yeah, our tax money can't go towards us for reparations, but our tax money is okay to spend on people that don't pay tax dollars in this country and give everything and all kinds of perks and benefits to people that hopped the fence and came over here illegally. That's okay to do, but it's not okay to give reparations to people that have paid into the system, have worked the system, have helped this country grow into what it is today. It's not okay to give them reparations, It's not okay. And I think it's even worse when you have mayors like Brandon Johnson that is also doing these sort of things. It's even worse. Mhm. So all our people in Chicago, all you got to do is step aside, stay out of the way. Okay, and that's all you need to do, and let these ICE agents and sheriffs and police and National Guard and whoever else they can get their hands on to go in there and get those folks out of there. There's nothing for you to do. Grab the popcorn and your favorite drink. That's all. That's all you need to do. And if it's not too cold in Chicago, just sit on the porch and watch the whole thing unfold. I know I would. If I was in Chicago, I would. Hmm. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Those of you that join me in the Bible study, that will begin at 4:15. So I will see you all then. Those of you that are not coming, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Shalom, family.